Welcome to Improv 419, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the improv community right here in Toledo, Ohio. Each episode, I'll sit down with local performers to talk about what makes improv exciting, terrifying, hilarious, and life-changing. You'll get behind-the-scenes stories, personal journeys, and maybe a few scenes and laughs along the way. If you've ever wondered what really happens on and off the stage, or if you've thought, improv sounds fun, but I could never, then you're in the right place. You'll get the Improv 411 here on Improv 419. I'm your host, Lindsay, and welcome. It's the first episode of 2026, and we have something very special prepared. Jeremy Natter is my guest on this episode and the next one. It's our first two-parter. Not only that, for part one, we're bringing you into the classroom for our first fully improvised episode. Follow Claire, me, as she takes her first leap into improv. Class is in session. Time to meet our level one teacher, Jeremy Natter.
Hello. Welcome to level one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're so nervous. Well, you are the only one that showed up for this particular class. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. A little bit about myself. My name is Jeremy, and I'm your level one instructor for this episode. I like to say that my improv journey began shortly after college when my roommate was a video film production major. I was always on his projects for classes, and then we entered some short film contest and had success with that. And you could say I caught the acting bug from that. So after college, he reached out to me and said, hey, you should take improv. That would be like the actory thing to do. So I was like, there's no way that is offered in Toledo. Let me Google Improv Toledo, and basically nothing more than a Craigslist ad popped up that said adult improv, and I'm like, well, this is either going to be great or take my money. And from that, I showed up to week one, and I had one of the most eclectic classes, which I think is the most ideal improv experience. Is very diverse, age ranges and groups and all kinds of different backgrounds. And I like to say I was Toledo's first improv student, and I still tote that note as of today. At the time, there was just that adult improv class, and Nick was our teacher, and we finished that session. And afterwards, it's like, well, what are we going to do? This was fun. Nick, you made us fall in love with this art form. What now? And he's like, well, I guess I could teach you more stuff, and then that could mean we could have a new intro class. So then the inception of 1 and 2 was formed. Levels 1 and 2, and then same thing happened at the end of each of those, and there was like levels 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, ever since then I've been on course with it, but I love it, and I want to teach you some of the cool stuff I've learned to love about it.
I'm very excited to learn, very nervous.
Yeah.
I've never performed like this before.
That's okay. Well, it's completely natural. Like I said, even though you're my only student for today, I'm going to try to give you your improv starter kit, so to speak, or your improv utility belt, the basics that come with that. I often like to describe it as a improv Batman utility belt. You know, terms we'll go over, like yes and might be your batarang, and agreement or scene work is going to be like your grappling hook, but you'll figure out through the course of it that what to use in which instance. So sound good?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Amazing. So tell me your name and just a brief little bit about yourself.
My name is Claire Bocce-Ball, and I grew up locally. I've been kind of enclosed and afraid of talking to people, and decided to really break outside of those comfort zones and join this class. I wish there were other people here, but
well, that's the nature of it. You got to roll with what you get. So Claire, thank you for being here. Mm-hmm. The first thing I want to teach you is the concept of yes and. So regardless of what your scene partner, I guess that's going to be me throughout the day, says, you're literally going to say yes and then an ellipses, and you'll get to fill in and add in your own. So it's immediately agreement. So if I were to say something like, today's the day I'm going to pick the most perfect apple, you could respond with,
yes, and that apple will be our dinner.
Yes, and dinner will nourish our bodies where we can continue this process over and over again. Okay, so it's a very mechanical usage of yes and, but that's often how it starts. So from there, the biggest thing is agreement. We did a great job of agreeing that we are indeed apple picking. I didn't say today's the day I'm going to pick the most perfect apple, and you're like, oh, that's not an apple. That's actually a pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
So actually is almost a word that you want to avoid because it could lead you down a path of negating. We definitely don't want to negate. That's why agreement is so important. All of improv, one way or another, has a way that you can break the rules. The only rule that cannot be broken is agreement. And again, rules are more or less like guideposts to help you down a path to a successful scene. Do you feel like you have the yes and concept so far?
Yes, and I would like to learn more.
Oh, perfect. You're already a natural at this, Claire Bocce Ball. So next thing I want to go over with us is object work. We'll do a couple exercises. So object work is more or less it's our five senses that we can't. So in improv, we often work in a black box theater, meaning there's no set. It's often a stage, no props that we have. The props are our bodies and the air in which we're imagining with. So if you can think of object work as the utilization of your five senses, like you're imagining and pretending that you're seeing things, you're smelling things, the air even has a taste to it, or the ice cream, you can feel free to describe that you're eating, but then you're going to pantomime or play charades throughout the rest of it to fill it. Let's do an exercise. This is a common one that we utilize in Toledo. Is right now I want you to picture a flower. Any flower. Could be your favorite flower, could be one you most recently seen, could be one you're most fond of, like I said, your favorite one. But anything that you can picture really, really well. Picture its color, picture the stem, whether it's in bloom or pre-bloom or post-bloom. And then I want you to pick that flower, whether you have to use a tool like shears to clip it, or maybe you can just pluck it or snap it. But I want you to pick that flower. Amazing. Now I want you to go ahead and smell that flower and kind of think about how it smells. No, I noticed. One thing you did right there is I'm right off the bat noticing you have a longer stem of it. So before you're telling me what it is, or anything like that, because I do like to kind of guess these at some time, even whether I'm right or wrong, is yeah, I love these details that you're doing. So you picked a flower, you smelt it. I don't recommend tasting it unless it is indeed an edible one. Then that's a choice you can make to show that. But go ahead and start kind of like playing around with the flower. You know, if you want to do like.
It is kind of soft and edible in the center.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
Parts of it.
Okay. So yeah, how you're handling it is telling me a lot. There's a lot of great like cues that I'm learning. This is incredible. I know it feels awkward and everything to keep doing, but just keep picturing that flower that you have. Go through like a little, maybe if it is like leaves or petals on it that you could pluck, like she loves me not kind of thing.
Oh gosh, this will take forever with this one.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have a pretty good visualization of this type of flower. You don't necessarily have to show it, but you can continue to interact with the flower. But I want you to start picturing where that flower came from. Mm-hmm. Like where you plucked it from, where exactly, not like where it came from, but where it came from in this moment.
Right.
Okay. And then where, you don't have to answer out loud right now, but where is it? Where was it? Obviously now it's in your hands, but how did it get there? Did it grow? Was it from a vase or a vase, however you say the word? And why was it there?
Yeah, I see it in the back of like a farmhouse. There's several rows of sunflowers. And yeah, I just kind of walked up and picked the first one that looked ready to go.
Perfect. So you said the back of a farmhouse. So if you were to broaden kind of your area that you were imagining, is it on a farm?
Yeah, there's like open land kind of behind it and red barn, like very picturesque.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Classic red barn, that kind of scenery that we would all probably something similar, familiar. We would all be picturing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, you can put your flower down and throw it away if you want. Amazing. So I was picturing a sunflower. A couple details. You said a lot of petals, and then the center part is edible. That I was like, oh, like. For some reason in my head, I pictured an avocado. No wrong answers or anything like that, but I was picturing that. But then I was like, oh, the seeds. Okay, that makes sense. Sunflower seeds. Amazing. Okay, so in that particular example, you started by picturing just the object, nothing more than the object that I was inevitably going to have you touch. And then from there, your world was built around it. You almost discovered your world. A lot of times in this, like picking a flower, you can think of them at the same spot or like at the same time you can think of them. But if you just have an absolute void, like we talk about the black box theater, there's nothing else that's going on. And so you have to fill in, you have to imagine where it is. And the harder you're imagining it and you're picturing yourself in that environment, the easier the audience, in my case, or in this case, I'm your audience member, but the easier your audience will have identifying and being there with you. A lot of improv audiences want to be there. It's a shared experience. So yeah, that was fantastic. Let's do a similar thing. This is a different way to build context and build a stage picture, so to speak, is I want you to very arbitrarily just kind of put your hands in space, like in a miscellaneous shape, figure, position. There could even be like a small motion. Were you going to do a small motion? Okay, yeah, like a repeatable small motion, if you will, if you want. Okay, so completely forget about why your hands are like that, but keep them there. There's nothing that you need to picture right now. Your hands are very out of context. I want you to think of a memory that you had from when you were a kid. Just any memory, could be a favorite memory, hopefully like a good one as opposed to, bringing in trauma right now. Do you have that memory?
Yeah.
Okay. And picture the place you were in for that memory. If you can, almost like you're walking through a dream in a way. If you can picture that place, picture some sub areas, or like if it's a kitchen, you can picture the cabinets, you can picture appliances. Okay, and then just keep picturing that, and the more details you can pull from that, like right now you're doing literally nothing other than just standing on a stage, so to speak, and picturing things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, based off of that location, what are your hands doing?
So I was picturing like where I used to store Play-Doh as a kid, which was like hidden in a kitchen cabinet. And now I guess, I'd be like squishing the Play-Doh.
Amazing.
Almost, yeah.
So at no point did you ever, when I said put your hands in a position, at any point were you thinking about Play-Doh?
No.
Exactly. So this is another way to go and kind of discover through object work is you think about your setting that you're in and possibly the context that you're in. Generally, you'd have some dialogue with a scene partner that'll help you fill those in, and it'd be like a shared experience with them. But you found out what you were doing later on. Right.
So you build around just a very simplified idea. Is that kind of the basic?
Yeah, absolutely. And in this particular way of discovery through object work, if you're ever stuck in an improv scene, I'm a very physical player, so I will just position my body in a weird way, or I will initiate. Initiating is how you start a scene. Sometimes that could be a line of dialogue or an action. Like we initiated this scene by just placing our hands in a certain position, and then we built our world around it, and we were trying to get on the same page with that. But yeah, if you're ever stuck in an improv scene, you can just grab something. You don't know what you're grabbing. You just reach out into the ether and you discover what's there. Like, oh, why would my hands be in that shape or that position? Or why would I be standing in that position unless there was context to it? And then once you have that context, like it just kind of fills in. You're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. So right now we're doing this by ourselves because I guess I didn't put out a good enough advertisement to get more students in here. Thank you for still being here.
Yeah, I appreciate your time.
But generally, that's something that we can do when we have our scene partner and we're exchanging dialogue. We're using the yes and concept kind of back and forth with it. And yeah, if we're ever stuck, we can just utilize that tool to pull and give us more context. So let's go, before we maybe kind of do a couple other things, let's talk about character work. Character work is one of the things that we're going to learn. Character work, we can often think about it obviously as like who you're being, who you're portraying in a scene, but as a tool of character work, think of it as if we were to define it, it would be the lens we filter information in and we send information out. So if I were to get, like, say, regardless of who your character is or your name is, that character is a complete person, right? So they have a backstory, they came from somewhere, they're in a particular mood, or they're having a particular emotion is often a suggestion we get. So if I were to say your emotion is happy or joy, right? Everything I say to you, you're going to perceive as being very happy. So that's going to affect you as the improviser. Be like, oh, like that makes me happy. That is a really happy context. I might start picturing sunshine and rainbows type of thing because of it, or this very happy like farmland. There's not a tornado coming through the farm, right? So you're like, okay, what cool things could happen? We'll discover those later on, and we may or may not get to them. But then when it's time for you to respond back, right, because you want to share, you want to apply the and, right, of the yes and, you're going to also just continue to be happy. So you're like, oh, wow, he's giving me happy information. I'm going to send happy information. So it's just this lens that information enters through and then gets sent back out. And when you're consistent with it throughout a scene, like, sure, there could be paradigm shifts or you know, we talk about today's the day X happens, and maybe there's an evolution of your character, or we find something new about it, but that adjustment would be noticeable and the audience would be able to like ride that wave with you, so to speak. Let's give you an emotion, and let's do an emotion of, let's do the opposite, or something close to the opposite of joy or happiness, maybe fear. Okay, so everything is going to be, regardless of what I'm actually saying, I want you to perceive it, like pass it through the lens of fear. And then utilize that yes and concept. And if at any moment you're ever lost, just reach your hands out, grab something from your environment, and we'll go from there, okay, as it comes up, if it does even. Well, we're all out of milk. I'm sick of eating dry cereal.
Oh, gosh. I don't know how we're going to even survive the night.
You're going to have to go and get some milk, despite all odds stacked against you.
I have to go? Like, go out and go out and get milk. I can definitely do that.
Yes, and I'm going to need you to do it promptly. No pit stops. Just A to B as fast as you can, because I'm hungry.
You're hungry and you need milk right now. There's no other options except for I have to leave the safety of our home and go get milk.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, we'll call it there. So I love that you brought up by the end of it, like the safety and security of it. Obviously that like coincides with, you know, fear, being fearful, like leaving, voiding. But you know, you were really quickly to jump on board, like, okay, we're in the same home together. You named like the location, which is great. That was a great context for me, like where we're sitting. Now, obviously we're, you know, where else would we eat cereal? And anything you chosen would have been great, whether it was a Subway or Moon or wherever. But yeah, that really great job there, Claire. Okay, let's do another one. This time I want you to just any character that you want. It could be someone that you know. It could be a celebrity or like a character that you want to impersonate. I'll just have you do like a few sentence of a monologue, all right? And then I just kind of want to see what you're doing, and I may or may not notice a couple things. So.
Well, I was so busy this morning. Like, honestly, just one phone call after another. Like, people are constantly reaching out to me, and I mean, I just can't help it that, you know, I can solve all their problems. I'm very just attuned, I would say.
Awesome. That was so great. So something I noticed was, so you view yourself as a popular person and a very attuned person, as you said. Okay, great. So I could do an exercise what's called mirroring. I'm going to do one for you, and I'm going to do a character. And I just want you don't have to respond. I may be speaking to you in character, but it'll be monologue-ish. And I want you to just see what you notice about my character. We'll talk about it after.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, your father's gonna be home and any minute now, and I don't have the dinner ready at all, and his birthday's coming up. He works so hard. I hope you got him something he's absolutely gonna love. Please tell me you did. I need that reassurance for the sake of everything. Okay, great. And we'll call that there. And just off the top of your head, what were like a few things you noticed?
Like very concerned. And I think the mentioning of reassurance is, I think the characters just outrightly saying what they need.
Yeah, that's great. One of the things that you did not notice was like the specific, or that you didn't speak on was like the specific voice.
Okay. They're elderly.
Well, yeah, that's a great context. So you absorb it, but of the things that we covered, voice in character is one of the least important things that we do. It helps us. It's fun. It's like a way we can present like flair as the performer. But we're going to do it one more time. And keep in mind, voice is like the least important thing of the whole character, right? So, outdated robot. Feeling so lonely, I have no purpose. What can I do? Great. Okay, so that character, I want all the things that you noticed about it. Again, voice is the least important thing. I kind of set you up to something you would not be able to replicate, but you're going to kind of latch on to the things that maybe that character revealed to you. And I want you to try on the character cloak and wear it around for size.
Okay.
And then be the same character. You could have an absolutely new talking point, but let's just kind of see how it goes and go from there.
No one needs me anymore. I'm just antiquated and there's no use. I might as well just rot in a cupboard.
Oh my gosh, this is so great. So that is the character, right? It's not the robot voice that we did, and it's not necessarily even the fact that it is a robot. That's great context. That's great like object work and physicality that we can utilize with that. But yeah, you got the gist of the character just like that. We call that like wearing a character cloak, because you try it on, try it out, see how you feel in it, take things that you like about it, and forget the things that you don't like. I'm going to be honest. This first class absolutely flew by. I feel like there's so much more I want to teach you and discuss and talk about. I hope you come back next class ready to learn more, and we hopefully have more students at that time. Just to wrap it up based off of what we've gone over so far, do you have any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns?
I think I found it very beneficial to be able to imagine the world around me. I think it really places you in the environment, and like you said, it helps bring the audience into it. So I think that's something that in our future classes I can learn to develop as a tool. And I appreciate you taking the time just to talk to little old me, Claire Bocce-Ball.
Claire Bocce-Ball, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming to my class this evening.
Well, thank you, Jeremy Natter. To the listeners, stay tuned for part 2, where we get to learn more about our favorite teachers' beginnings in improv. A huge thank you to WGTE, Voices Around Us, and our producer, Chris Pfeiffer, for making this podcast possible. And of course, thank you to today's guests for sharing their stories and their love of improv. You can find Improv 419 at wgte.org/improv 419 or any podcast streaming platform. And finally, thank you to you, the listeners, for tuning in and supporting. Please check out the other wonderful podcasts, part of the Voices Around Us series, and stay tuned for more Improv 419 episodes.
WGTE. Voices around us.